Hello and welcome to tonight's weather video. We've got a pretty wild morning for you tomorrow after a kind of very warm sunny day today. Very warm. At least most of the snow is melting now. We'll just kind of... That's the satellite loop. I wanted to go to this one. Hold on. I wanted to go to the CONUS view. Come on. Yeah, I'm having problems with the computer. Hold on. Let's see. Alright, so this is the CONUS view. So this is the storm that we're going to have heading our way, but it was a very mild day today. The snowpack, you won't be seeing that for too much longer. Let's just show you the MODIS satellite for today, showing the snowpack over our area. So you can see snowpack. That is going to be going. You can actually already see it going away. This is yesterday. Well, you had a lot of clouds around yesterday. You can see the day before, so you can see the difference already. The snowpack will be gone completely by tomorrow. A lot of it's gone right now. It was, like I said, a pretty warm day today. Let's go look at the statistics for today, and then we will talk about what we have to come. So a high of 50 and a low of 27. Believe it or not, it was pretty chilly in the morning. Miami only got down to 36, of course. But Islip got down to 37, which was 2 degrees below normal. However, the high of 50 was 6 degrees above normal. So 3 degrees above normal. It's going to be even warmer than that as we get into tomorrow. As far as the month goes, I'm just going to go briefly at the month because we are quite below normal. In fact, we haven't had many above normal days. This is one of the few above normal days that we've had. And I just want to go to yesterday's as well. Yesterday we were in the 40s. Alright, it doesn't seem to want to work now. Alright, let's try the alright, I guess I have to go click on the other thing here. The climate. They're making me go to here to find it. Alright, so I want to go to the preliminary monthly climate data for Islip and just show you how below normal we've been this month so far. We have been 5.2 degrees below normal for the month of December. That is quite a remarkable departure from normal, and just a real exception to, generally the old above normal months that we've had. But going to the daily climate report, I just want to go to yesterday's daily climate report. So yesterday, all right, that is, yeah. So here we go. Yesterday, high of 46 and a low of 24. So that was 6 degrees below normal for the low and 2 degrees below normal for the day. So we were cooling off at night quite a bit. Of course, not where I'm at, but we were cooling off quite a bit. So let's go look at what we got going on right now outside, and you'll see a number of weather advisories for tomorrow. The temperatures have gotten up to 48, 48 at West Hampton, though it got down to 18 this morning at West Hampton. So I'll just show you the lows first because that's always interesting. 18 degrees at West Hampton. So it was a good night for radiational cooling last night. The winds were fairly light. And Miller Air Park got down to 19 as well. But the high temperatures today, mostly 50s in most locations. And yeah, mostly low, around either side of 50 degrees generally, which is well above normal. Tomorrow we're going to be even more above normal. So we did get radiational cooling, though, at West Hampton, and I'm wondering if we got it the morning before, too. I think we did. Let's see, I'm going to just roll this back to December 17th and see what it got down to in the morning. And I'm just curious, and then we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the storm that we have to come here. So, whoa, look at that. It got down to 11 degrees on December 17th at West Hampton. 11 degrees. That is incredible. That is incredible. So that is some incredible radiational cooling that they got overnight, and that's courtesy of that snowpack that really helped get the temperatures down. Wow, that's incredible. So, wow, what a departure from what I had to deal with. I only got down to maybe upper 20s that night. That was it. So that is incredible. So really, really incredible to see that kind of radiational cooling. But anyway, that will be history because we have a big LLJ type of storm coming. You can see a low pressure going well up into Canada there, a warm front, and along this whole area here in this warm sector, we have a lot of rain. So I'm going to show you the radar here. We already have rain over here, but take a look at what's going on over here. This almost looks like severe weather here, going through right up through the south into Kentucky, Ohio, and that's what we have to look forward to for tomorrow. So it's quite an impressive thing, and I'm just going to go to the lightning map just to see, because I bet there's a lot of lightning here with these storms here. It's not a ton, I guess, huh? Looks more impressive on the radar than actually. It still looks pretty threatening, though. So there's definitely going to be the chance of thunderstorms. Just get this out of the way. They just have us in a general thunderstorm risk for tomorrow. Nothing severe. Though today they had a marginal severe area. They might want to reconsider that when we go over some of these models here, for sure. Let's we'll go to the weather service here for a moment, because you'll see here they've got a briefing for this storm. So we're going to just go over this briefing, because this is going to be a doozy here for us for tomorrow morning. So they say southerly winds 20 to 35 miles an hour with gusts to 55 miles an hour, highest across the southern and eastern shorelines late tonight into early Friday morning, shifting to the west on Friday afternoon into Friday night. Isolated gusts of 60 to 65 miles an hour are possible, mainly Friday morning into the early afternoon. And this is going to cause power outages, tree limbs, and, of course, those Christmas decorations. You're definitely going to want to take those in. We're also going to see a lot of rain as well. 3/4 to 1.5 inches of likely area wide, with locally up to 2 inches possible. Briefly up to 3/4 inch an hour possible Friday morning to the early afternoon. And there could be some flooding as well. Minor urban and poor drainage flooding. I'm sure many of the roads here are going to be absolutely really bad. On the coast, you're going to have minor to moderate coastal flooding. Inundation of 1 to 2 feet locally, 2.5 feet above ground during Friday a.m. high tide for vulnerable coastal locations across New York, New Jersey Harbor, southern NYCLI shorelines, and the Long Island Sound shorelines. Highest amounts for southern Nassau County. There will be beach flooding as well. 8 to 12-foot waves possible as well. So there's going to be more beach erosion as well. They've got a wind advisory in effect. I think that should be a high wind warning. A gale warning for all coastal waters 6 p.m. tonight through Monday, Friday night, and coastal flood warnings and advisories. Friday a.m. high tides. All right. So there's going to be a lot of issues here with these winds that we have. This is a very powerful storm, and you can see all the highs. I think that high wind warning, I think that should be extended at least into Suffolk County, because when we go over some of these gusts, it's going to be pretty impressive here. You already see some rain on the radar, but these gusts are going to be pretty incredible. So let's go to the models now and show you what we have going on here, and we'll go look at the European here. And we will go to the eastern U.S. view. Good news, at least, is this will get rid of all the snow. But we're going to have to deal with a lot of flooding and possible power outages as a result of this. So plenty of deep moisture to work with here, tropical moisture. You can see that feed coming up here. So plenty of deep moisture for the system to work, and then the drier air will move in behind it. So the rain's going to start after midnight tonight, and then it's going to get heavy in the morning. So this is going to be right in the middle of the rush hour tomorrow morning when this is going to hit. And you can see a real wrapped up, real tight pressure gradient there, as well as a V in the isobars. So that kind of supports possible severe weather, in my opinion. I would have a marginal risk for severe weather for tomorrow, because some of these thunderstorms are going to be able to bring down some of those winds from that LLJ, and that could meet the criteria for a severe thunderstorm. And then you can see the flow rapidly shifts to the northwest, and we have a much cooler weekend ahead. And I will be going over the weekend tomorrow night, because we have to talk a lot about this storm. So let's go to the HRRR first. Yeah, and show you the humidity that's going to be coming up, the moisture that's going to be coming up. So you can already feel it's kind of muggy out tonight. Those dew points are going to rise well into the 50s tomorrow with that LLJ, and you can see there, right? And then there's the very sharp frontal passage that's going to occur in the early afternoon. The winds are going to shift to the west very abruptly, and the temperatures are going to drop as well behind that. And then as we get into Friday night, you notice the dew points drop down into the 20s, and we have the drier air. So it's going to be a big contrast. And you see here, temperatures rise through the night, 50s, possibly close to 60 in Jersey, well in the 50s tomorrow. Between the rain and the wind and the tide temperatures, all the snow is going to be gone. Most of all of it, except maybe some piles. But there's going to be a lot of flooding because of all that water in the ground. But the ground's pretty dry, especially in certain areas like the Pine Barrens, and this will be very helpful, actually, for that area. And you see the temperatures stay in the 50s most of the day. They don't really, as we get into the evening, you'll start seeing them drop into the 40s. And then later on, you'll start seeing the 30s come in. And then down into by morning, we'll be below freezing. All right. I'm going to look at Cape next. So let's go ahead and look at that and see if we have any Cape. I don't see any Cape here, but I'm still concerned about winds. And again, you see those isobars there, that kink that is something that's that usually a very strong cold front would mark. So let's go ahead and look at the radar simulation on this HRRR here. So again, we have the rain moving in tonight. You see there'll be some heavy rain as we get toward the morning. You can see some patches of heavy rain, and that's the actual front right there. And that's got, like I said, right around early afternoon, late morning, really early afternoon, very like 1 o'clock. This line's going to move through, and it's going to be brief, but it could be some really heavy rain with that line. With that is the front right there, and that could be a thunderstorm there with that. Thunderstorms are possible, and there could still be a chance of a shower. And there's still going to be some instability in the air, so showers could still be around even behind the cold front. So there'll still be some instability, and clouds, of course, as well. And then as we get in the evening, transitions maybe over to maybe a flurry or a snow shower or two. So a very unstable air behind this front. To start anyway. So let's go ahead and look at the total amount of rain that we're going to see from this. And yeah, we're going to see, I would say 1 to 2 inches of rain is a good bet, I think, for most of us with this. That on top of the snowpack is going to be pretty impressive conditions on the waterways, I think, with some of these rivers and stuff. And there will be a lot of flooding. There's a lot of flooding, poor drainage, of course. I already said that, so Mineola, I'm sure, will be pretty bad, and any other area that has poor drainage as well will be pretty bad. The next thing I want to go is look at the 850 winds. This will kind of show the LLJ that we're dealing with tomorrow, and take a look at this LLJ. So if you're in Jersey, you're probably going to dodge the worst of it, and honestly, I think it's Suffolk County that's going to see the worst, because you see that's where the highest winds are right there, over Suffolk County. So that's where you're going to see your strongest winds over Suffolk, and it gets even worse as it moves into New England. Any shower or thunderstorm could tap into those very strong winds aloft, and it'll still be windy behind it. So I think a high wind warning would be appropriate for Suffolk County until frontal pass should say high wind warning up to like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and then after that you're going to need a wind advisory through the evening at least. So that's what I would suggest at this point with these kind of conditions here. All right, that's one model. Let's go ahead and look at the next model, which is the NAM. And we'll keep it in this. All right, so this is the NAM here. And look at the NAM. Really, the NAM really, again, picks that L. It gets a lot worse once it gets over Long Island. You can see that. So let's go ahead and look at the radar simulation here on the NAM. Again, there's that rain. Starts off light, and then it gets heavy. See some real heavy downpours here, and then there's that frontal passage in the early afternoon, or around noon, with the showers. And then after that, the NAM kind of cuts it off a little bit, but there can still be a possible shower around, even behind it, due to the really high instability that we're going to see from this. And let's go ahead and look at the total accumulated precip on the NAM. Yeah, again, similar. It has some patches that could be closer to 2. I mean, some areas will get less, but I think everybody's going to see at least close to an inch of rain from this. And again, some areas possibly more than that. Now, let's go to the next model, the HDRPS. Now, don't have the latest HDRPS, and this is the HDRPS precipitation. A little bit less. Seems like it has more of the rain out to the west. Okay, just really incredible LLJ here. So, again, you see there's the rain in the morning, the heavier rain, but it does seem to keep the heavier rain off to the west. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but it does seem to be more intense with that front. So that front will have to be watched, that cold front, because that is where we could see some really strong winds at that cold front and a possible severe thunderstorm with that cold front when it comes through. And you see the isobars are still tight in the evening, so the wind will still be an issue. On all these models, you see that, basically. So we went through all the three of the low. I can go to the RGEM. This is the last one we can look at here. Now, resolution is not as high here. But we can look at it and see how much rainfall it's suggesting, at least. Total accumulated precip. Yeah, around 1 to 2, but it seems to have more of it off to the west. I don't know if I'm buying that. I think the rain's going to be heavier off to the east, in my opinion, where the winds are, but it may be more over here. It's possible. It's possible. I still think most places are going to see at least an inch of rain out of this thing. Let's go to the skies, just to show you the clouds, just to show you what it looks like in the cloud simulation here. So you see that there might be a break of sun in the afternoon. That might help spark off again that instability as they have a very steep. Let me go back, go to the HRRR again. We're going to look at the soundings. I'll show you what I mean. For the afternoon. Yeah, we'll do this time. That's fine. Yeah, take a look at that. Yeah, that's unstable. All right, so. And you can see how the air is fairly saturated too as well, so plenty of cloud cover as well. So it's just going to be a lot of moisture down at the surface that's going to help keep. I mean, there's nothing instability as far as severe goes, but this looks like a column that, again, you'll have clouds and you could have a possible shower or two develop. But the severe, once the front passes through, the severe part of it, risk will go, in my opinion. So now that we've looked at all this, let's go to Ventus Sky, because when we go look at Ventus Sky, I think things are going to look a lot more frightening. Let's go to wind gusts, and we'll go over to that, and we'll move it over to tomorrow and show you what happens. So 3 in the morning, nothing crazy yet, but as we get towards 6, here it goes. It starts picking up, 35, 36 miles an hour. Still not the worst of it yet. As we get to 8, here we go. This is when we start getting into the worst of it here. Gusts close to 50, and look at this, even parts of northwest Jersey gusts. I take it back about Jersey, avoiding some of these higher winds. Still seeing possible 60, 70 mile an hour gusts here. Go to 9 o'clock, and you see this area slowly making its way toward us. And as we go toward 10 o'clock, here you go. This is pretty scary. So again, over Suffolk, you have winds gusting in excess of 60 miles an hour. And I think with winds like this, I think we're going to see, I would say we could see possibly up to 50,000 customers lose power from this storm with these winds. Look at this gusting, possibly close to 70. So yeah, there's going to be there's going to be damaging. This is damaging, and I don't know why they don't have a high wind warning in effect. They think these higher end winds aren't going to arrive, but I think they are. Well, they said they could, but they said they could be higher end winds, but then they don't want to issue the high wind warning. I think there's a high wind warning needed for Suffolk County with these winds. And then by noon, you can see the worst of the winds shifting off now to the east. And now they're impacting Massachusetts. And again, just look at some of these gusts here. There's going to be a lot of damage in Massachusetts, too, from these winds as well. So this is going to be pretty bad as it moves away. And we're going to go ahead and look. And this is the HRRR we're looking at here. That's what's showing on this. So we're going to go back over to wind speed, and we're going to go look at the sustained winds, because they're no joke either. You're going to have sustained winds, possibly 20 to 30 miles an hour or more. At the beach, it's going to be even worse, 40 to 50. Thunderstorm risk, not really showing that here. But I want to go back to wind speed, and we're going to go just a little bit above the ground. Let's go 250 meters above the ground, because this is absolutely crazy. So this is this is not very much above the ground, and look at these winds here. You have a sustained wind approaching hurricane force. So that is, again, very, very substantial. And I think a lot of people are underestimating this storm and how bad it's going to be. It's going to be pretty disruptive if you are planning on commuting, especially on the train. I would take the day off because yeah, look at this. This is now we're at 1,600 feet, and look at these winds here over Suffolk County at 82 sustained. So this 87 sustained. This is an incredible amount of wind here. Absolutely incredible amount of wind just above the surface. So any shower thunderstorm could bring that in. As once it passes, then we lose the damaging aspect of it, but it's still going to be windy, and I still think we'll need the wind advisory because we'll still have gusts. Still have gusts. Well, the gusts don't look too bad, but I think we could. Well, yeah. See what's going to happen. There'll be a break, but then the stronger winds move back in. I think toward the evening, and then we could have more gusts, 40 to 50 miles an hour. Here we are, at 5 o'clock here again. So tomorrow is going to be a very, very windy day. Expect damage tomorrow. A damaging wind event for tomorrow, along with this rain, which again the ground is going to get saturated. That could help trees uproot a little faster than they normally would. So we're going to see some of that too, I think. And we've only just looked at Ventus Sky, and I haven't even showed the sea forecast yet. So that's the next one we've got to go to. All right. So you see, as we get toward the morning, this is when the waves start picking up here. 10 feet. 12, 11 feet, 14, and offshore it's really bad. All right, close to 20 feet. But this is not the model I choose to use when it comes to ocean. I choose to use windy. So let's go over there right now, and we'll first start with the waves. We're in that. So let's go into the morning. You can see it starts picking up, and it gets worse as the day goes on. And here you are. You have waves of 10 or 11 feet. Offshore, and this only gets worse as the evening goes on. Here we are, waves approaching 16 feet. So yeah, there's going to be beach flooding for sure, and it's going to be pretty impressive, especially because combining the rain and the wind with all this. So now we go to windy, and we go ahead and we look at the wind gusts, which I'm sure will be absolutely terrifying, just like on the other model. All right, not too bad at 3 a.m. We just have gusts to 30, but now we go to 6 a.m. Now you start seeing the gusts get stronger. We go to 7, 8. Here we are at 10. All right, this is like the worst part of it. You can see most areas are gusting now over 50 miles an hour. Look at that. Even some gusts possibly up to 60 miles an hour here. Very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. So this is going to be pretty bad. And then by the afternoon, we still are under the wind advisory conditions. You can see the wind is going to be with us all day long. So definitely expect problems all day tomorrow from these winds. Tomorrow is going to be a very stormy day. I think a lot of people are underestimating how bad tomorrow is. I think of it like this. Prepare like we're getting a tropical storm, because that's what it's going to be like for the morning. It's going to be like a tropical storm. A high-end tropical storm, perhaps. All right? Now, unlike in the summer, we don't have leaves on the trees, but I still think there's going to be substantial power outages and damage tomorrow from this storm. This looks pretty bad. This looks pretty bad. The last time I saw the winds this bad was when we were looking at Isaias. Remember Isaias and how bad that was? Well, I'm not going to say I don't think it's going to be as bad as that, but it's going to be definitely up there. This is the worst I've seen in quite some time with the winds. And I'm going to put this down now. We're going to go to look at the winds, the altitude winds. So just to show you, we're going to go just a little bit above the surface. Here's 100 meters at 9 in the morning. Here's 950 meters. This is 2,000 feet. You got wind sustained over hurricane force over Suffolk County. That's pretty crazy stuff right there. All right, and it gets worse as we move on. So along here. You can see how it winds up getting worse as it moves east. So, this is bad. This is really bad. Again, surface, 100 meters. And we go up even higher, 2,500 feet. This is a very strong LLJ, one of the strongest LLJs I've seen. So, and again, this is 2,000 feet at 9 in the morning. Sustained winds. That's why I think Suffolk County is going to be worse. This is, again, 2,000 feet up, but, again, some of these winds are going to mix down. So, expect a lot of impacts tomorrow. And I do think people are underestimating the storm. I think it's going to be a lot worse than people are expecting. And I think we're going to see a lot of power outages, disruptions to trains. Like I said, if you don't have to travel in the morning, I would really highly recommend that you don't because of this storm. Especially if you're in Suffolk County. because I think Suffolk County is going to see the worst of this for sure. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I'll keep you updated. We're going to talk about the weekend tomorrow night, and hopefully I don't get impacted by a power outage, but I have a feeling a lot of people are going to get impacted by power outages with this storm, with these high winds. That's for sure. So, again, prepare for tropical storm-like conditions for your Friday morning. All right? That's the best way I can put it. So, that's all. Thank you for watching. Be safe out there.